We're living in a lust pandemic. We are getting tempted every single day, and we are being driven away from our purpose. And this is regardless of age. Whether we're a young man, an old man, a middle aged man, it doesn't matter. In today's society, there are temptations left and right, especially with social media pretty much dominating every single industry. Lust, temptation is being used against us men so that we fail, so that we never discover our purpose, so that we never discover our true essence. I can tell you firsthand that I've been struggling with this for years, and it wasn't until this year, on my 29th birthday, that I overcame it. You're probably wondering, well, what did you do, AJ, to overcome this problem? I'll tell you what I did. I eliminated all distractions. I focused simply on my purpose and I fought. What a lot of people don't tell you is that it's a fight. And it's not just a one time fight, it's an everyday fight. But you have to ask yourself, when you look back in 5 years, in 10 years, do you want to be filled with regret or do you want to feel proud of who you are? Because I'll tell you this firsthand that regret is something that you don't want to deal with. You are going to experience regret. I'm not saying you're not, but you don't want to feel regret to when it comes to lust and temptation because you're going to realize that it was simply just a biological urge that was manipulated so that you could be soulless, so you could be not successful, so you could be a shell of yourself. There are so many men nowadays that are simply robots, that are simply just succumbing to their biological impulses. And there are people making so much money off men like that. I used to be one of those men myself. I was paying tons of money to the music industry. I was paying tons of money to social media creators. I was paying tons of money to these social media platforms as a whole. And the moment you realize that your mind is your money, that's when you become successful. The problem is that lust and temptation weakens our mind. We lose control over our mind. And when we lose control over our minds, guess what happens? That's when negativity seeps through. That's when negativity starts controlling us. That's when we start losing belief in ourselves. That's when we start asking ourselves questions like, am I meant to do this? Am I good enough to do this? Am I attractive enough to do this? Am I hardworking enough to do this? And before you know it, you're playing this game of self-sabotage. And that's what they want you to do. That's what they want you to experience. Because what better way to beat you if you're constantly just battling yourself? You'll never even realize the problem. And I'm here to remind you that it's not worth it. That urge that you constantly are fighting, it's not going to go away. There's no like pill that you can just take to turn this off. It's a biological impulse. It's being manipulated against us. It's done on purpose to make it hard. If this was easy to overcome, every single man would be a successful man. And this gets even more troubling when you start to realize that in life, that there are certain people that have advantages over you. There are certain people that have a cheat code. And I'm not saying that to discourage you. I'm saying that to tell you so you can wake up. Because whether you have the cheat code or not is not the problem. The problem is regardless you have to work hard. And I'm saying that if you're like me, who didn't have the cheat code, who didn't have the advantages, it's even harder. And the thing that most of us fail to realize is that we think that the task that we have to do is hard. We think that the task of investing is hard. We believe that the task of creating a business is hard. We think the task of getting a team is hard. Nah, that's not what's hard. What's hard is controlling our urges. What's hard is not giving in to instant gratification. What's hard is not giving in to the new age temptations, the new age evils, the new age lust machines that are out there to get us. Yeah, I said that. They are out there to get you. And whether you want to be aware of that or not is totally up to you. And I'm telling you this right now. The moment you become aware of this, the moment you regain your strength. But the more you play dumb or the more you try to avoid this, the more you're actually just making yourself into a victim down the line. You might think right now that you got no problems, or you might think right now it's all right? Maybe you're 18, or maybe you're 25, you still got 5 years left, or maybe you're 30 and you watch Gary Vee and he's telling you that you can still make it at 50. Screw all that shit. The time is now regardless of your age. You truly don't know when opportunities will come your way. They could come this year, they could come next week, they could come in 5 years. Regardless, you have to be ready. Most of us are not able to seize the opportunity, and that's why we fail. We have the talent, we have the smarts, we have the knowledge, but we're not ready. And why we're not ready is because our minds aren't ready for it. And our minds aren't ready for it because our minds aren't trained. Our minds aren't trained for success. Our minds are trained to become weak. Our minds are trained to give into lust. And ask yourself this, the last time you gave into lust, how did you feel after? Did you feel like an accomplished multimillionaire man? Or did you feel like a weakling? Just be honest with yourself. But let me guess, it was worth it in that moment. And even if you get over it, and let's just say you start reading like 10 books a day, you start making content every single day, you start having a business plan for your business, that urge is going to come back and you're going to get tested again. Are you going to give up that? That's truly what the path of success looks like. And I don't know what these people are telling you or what you're consuming, but life is just a constant battle. Consistency is key when it comes to work ethic, but consistency is also important when it comes to fighting off urges, when it comes to defeating lust, when it comes to defeating temptation. And the problem with lust, right, is I see lust as like the major habit that starts many other bad habits. It's kind of like the analogy that people say about weed. If you start smoking weed, you're way more likely to start experimenting with other drugs down the line. Once you start experimenting with lust, you're going to start creating so many other negative habits, and it's going to become this endless cycle of just negative habits you have to defeat. But if you can control your urges, you could start to actually establish positive habits. And when you establish positive habits, that's when you're well on your way. So hopefully by now you realize the power of controlling your urges, the power of defeating lust, the power of not giving in to this lust pandemic, as I like to call it. Because that is what it is. So many men are suffering in silence and they're just not speaking about it. They're coming online and they're making it seem like they have shit put together, like they're already accomplished. You know how many guys online are still living with their parents in their basements and they haven't even owned a thing? But they're trying to sell you this idea or this dream. I'm trying to give you the real here. And what the real here is that it's a grind. It's a process. It's a battle. And you're not going to probably be one of the people that are lucky or privileged or just have things handed to you. You're going to have to work for it. And the first thing that you have to overcome is lust. I can guarantee that. You overcome that and watch how much faster you see success. Watch how much happier you become. Watch how much more motivated you become. And that's what you need to succeed. So hopefully this video reminded you. And if you found this video helpful, subscribe for more. And I'll see you guys in future videos.